Hello, and welcome to the Two Dudes One Up Gaming Podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Ian.
And hi, I'm Matt.
All right.
Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Well, could be better, could be worse.
Fair enough. That's life.
Glad to have you here today.
Yeah. Our first guest
Be here.
appearance. How does it feel?
Well, feels kind of different. I feel like I'm breaking your dichotomy here. You're no longer two dudes. You're three.
Well, we're the two dudes, and you're the one up.
There you
That
go.
explains it.
There you go. But we're here really to talk about everything that's up and coming in gaming this week and
Yep.
maybe some of the stuff that's happened in the past week or so.
It's true.
Yeah. So I guess we should
I
kind
guess
of
we,
just
I
get
guess
right
we get
into
going.
it. After a couple of weeks of poor game releases, it's pretty much all coming out this week.
Yeah. In fact, all on the same day. I spent a while looking
Yeah.
for anything of any interest that's coming out the entire weekend. All of the interesting stuff comes out tomorrow. So if you're interested in games, tomorrow's a good day for you. So that started
The
off.
big one is
What's the big? Okay, what's the big one?
The big one is the first DLC package for Destiny 2.
Isn't this
the
the second
Warmind DLC.
First
think it's the first.
Destiny 2. No,
No, this is the second
where's
one. This is
Osiris?
definitely the second one. Yeah, Osiris was the
Osiris.
first one.
Second, my bad.
was
Destiny
wondering.
2 has pretty much been wiped from my brain, even
I
though
know.
I played
Yeah,
it.
nobody
for
played it.
Oh, no.
So we're looking forward to maybe this will be a good one. We're hoping. So this is Destiny 2 Warmind that's coming out. It's apparently it deals with Rasputin, the AI. They're adding a new game
the hive
mode
mind,
that's like a
Warmind,
survival
yeah.
where it's like you just gotta survive until you die. I mean, we've got a trailer. We could just show the trailer. So why don't we
Okay,
go
yeah.
ahead and
I've been looking for an excuse to get back into a first-person shooter. I mean, Osiris was not it, but maybe Warminds is.
yeah, hopefully. So we'll show up that trailer and then we'll be right back. Hang tight.
Mayday! Do you copy? The most dangerous weapon in this system is on this planet, and an entire army of Hive is trying to destroy it. This is a war of many fronts, and there's more than one way to fight it.
And you think Rasputin is the answer? It's a broken weapon. Too dangerous to be left alone and too unpredictable to wield. Rasputin was not the only thing to awaken on Mars.
Get the expansion pass now. 2 epic adventures. 1
Yeah, expansion passes. We know all about that. All right. So anyway,
Yeah.
there's your trailer. So
It looks pretty
new
cool.
game modes, new story, new weapons, that kind of thing. So I mean, it's about what you expect from a Destiny expansion. Hopefully, this one is bigger than Osiris. That was disappointing. It was so small.
Yeah. It was a pretty small expansion. I'm kind of stoked about the raid there though, the Spire of Stairs. I
Yeah.
think that looks pretty cool. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, really, the only thing I'm looking for out of it is that they give me something to do once I finish the content. If escalation is it, that'll be cool.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always that fun of that sort of challenge of see how long you can survive against an endless number of waves. Like, how do you optimize it? How do you get the most out of it? And I'm sure Bungie will put some type of leaderboard for that kind of thing around. But I mean,
Yeah.
in all honesty, I expect to pick it up in a couple of days, play it for maybe a week and a half or so, and then just not touch Destiny 2 again until there's another expansion. I mean, that's my
Until the next
realistic
DLC comes
expectation
out,
of this.
That's fair. That's fair. I know
I'll
you're
say
not really
this.
much of a first-person shooter type of player, so
I like playing competitive games like that, but I'm not good enough at them to be competitive, and that just makes me salty. So I'm not a first-person shooter player because I shouldn't be.
So might I want to get like an SWTOR vibe from the plot?
a little bit. I kind of get it a little bit, but they've been kind of building this up for a while. They haven't really touched the Rasputin thing. They briefly touched upon it in one, but like they never really. So I hope they dive into it a little bit more. So I mean, it's been interesting to finally learn about characters like Osiris and now Rasputin. So who knows what'll come out.
My real question is, when in the Destiny franchise do I free Master Chief? That's all I want to know.
That was Marathon. That was Marathon.
That crossover. Yeah.
Oh man.
When Halo gets to that point, that they need some help.
I think they reached that point when Cortana became the enemy. But let us not digress too much. Do you guys remember? Gosh, I guess it was 5 or 6 months ago now. I was playing Conan Exiles for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like a bunch of
you
us
and I were
went
playing that for a hot
through
minute.
this kick with survival games, and I think Conan is the one that I like the most, just because it's very. It never escalates to guns, right? Like it has that whole like PvP element to it, but you can turn that off and just focus on PvE. And I don't know, it's one of those games. It's survival without going way too far, but still having that feeling of building and co-op and that kind of thing. That's a bit more combat focused. And I've always liked the Conan universe. Anyway, tomorrow it finally leaves early access and gets its full release. They're adding some new content. They're adding, I think, more like items. I think they're finishing the story. And it's coming out it's actually releasing now on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So it'll actually be playable. And I don't know if you guys have seen much about it. Do you guys know much about this game?
Well, you and I used to play. Yeah, you and I played for a while.
It's true.
And I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. So, I'm pretty stoked. Since I still have the beta, I think do we automatically?
We get the full game. Yeah,
don't we automatically have it.
Yeah, we
because we already purchased it. So, this might be something that you and I dive into. When I get a little bit more free time in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. But we have a trailer of it. It's not as long as the Destiny trailer, but it gives you a general idea of what's going on. It's just a very Conan trailer. There's nothing. Well, you'll see.
First, they took your family and your riches. Then they took your health and your pride. Finally, they left you to die. What will you do, exile, when there is nothing left but to live or die? Now that you've chosen, what will you become?
So there's Conan Exiles for you.
Nice.
They kind of just like briefly show it in the trailer, but there's a lot of escalation to what you can build and the technologies you can unlock and that kind of thing. You start off with a leather armor, and then you get the or strike that you start with cloth, and then it goes to leather, and then you get to like steel and such. But like it never really goes past that, which I kind of enjoyed about it. That it's more about adventure than it is about trying to build up a tech tree, which is nice. Being that it's the Conan universe and it's just a very adventurous setting, I felt like it was very thematic and it fit very well. So.
Yeah, but what's your Minecraft clone without the ability to build, a computer out of nothing but lava?
Not Minecraft.
I guess.
Man, no hate. All right, so after that, we've got Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. It's coming out on PC tomorrow. Have you played Pillars of Eternity?
I am so excited for this game. I am a big fan of the isometric RPG style PC game. My mind is blanking on the ones that you and I used to play. There was two of them.
Baldur's Gate?
We never played Baldur's Gate together, but Baldur's Gate is a classic reference to one. We played oh my gosh, the heck the name of it. It's very recent. It just Divinity Original Sin.
Oh, it's an amazing game.
Divinity Original Sin is kind of like that. But this one, Pillars of Eternity,
very much along the lines of that.
I've had my eye on this particular studio. They did Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny previously, both of which were amazing games.
So I haven't played Tyranny, but I hear really good things.
It's too short, but it's amazing.
Okay.
If it had another 12 hours of gameplay, like if you get the DLC, it's a definite good usage of your time.
Okay. So one of the things I'm really excited for for Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, as a couple people that watch me know, and I know Chris, I'm a big RPG Dungeons and Dragons fan. There's a show on Twitch called Critical Role that I watch. It's a whole bunch of voice actors that all play Dungeons and Dragons together. They've done all of the voices, or the majority of the voices for the characters in Pillars of Eternity 2. And the studio decided, hey, why don't we just release voice packs for all of their actual Dungeons and Dragons characters? So all the characters from Vox Machina on the Critical Role show are available to play in Pillars of Eternity 2, which I think is a really cool crossover.
It is. That's
I don't know if you guys were aware of that or not.
I did hear about that. Yeah, that's really cool. I wonder.
So
is that a story? It can't possibly be a story integration. It's just more of like a hey, look, we put this character here.
If you play the original
I think it's more of a skin.
Okay.
If you play the original Pillars of Eternity, they did a lot to get all of their Kickstarter backers into the game. So every single person above a certain threshold had an NPC that was in a background scene. And they had a mechanic where your character was a seer, and whenever you walked up to those NPCs, you basically got their entire backstory info dumped.
Oh, cool.
So it was kind of cool. Honestly, there were so many of them that it became a bit egregious.
Right.
I can see that.
But bringing in 8 of the voice actors that were part of it, some of the voice actors that were part of it, and having them just voice their characters, and even Matt Mercer has a character in there, which I think is still a secret. But
Mercer was a big part of the first one as well. I mean, he was like a third of the NPCs in that game.
Yeah, he was the majority of that game. So I'm excited. I'll probably end up downloading that tomorrow if I have some time, and then hopefully getting into it this week if I can get a couple of down days.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then the last game we got coming out tomorrow is Shantae Half Genie Hero. Now this one's been out on PC for a while, but this is the Ultimate Edition, so it's the game and all the DLC for it. There's only like 2 DLCs, but the note about it is that it's going to be coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Have you guys played any of the Shantae games at all?
Nope.
I haven't. I do know that it's like more or less just like a platformer, like a
Yeah,
classic
it's
platformer
absolutely a
that
little
made
platformer
up,
Metroidvania kind of thing. Yeah. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go to say that they're very deep Metroidvanias. It's very shallow. Each game can be completed in something like 20 hours, probably less than that. First time through, if you know what you're doing, you can probably get through it in like 5 or 6. But yeah, I
Okay.
mean they're cute, fun platformers. The main character is this genie girl who used to be the guardian of a village. I've played all the games so far. They're good. I like them. They know
Yeah,
their audience.
It's a good bridge. It's a good bridge into
Absolutely.
like real hardcore platformers.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But it's good fun.
So, yeah, it's totally absolutely.
So let me ask you guys
speaking of
this:
that,
what have you
Yeah.
been playing recently? If you've had the time to play things. I know Ian, you've been at
Yep.
work a whole lot recently, and I know Matt, you work a lot in general.
Yeah. So again, for me, it's been just a whole bunch of a Legend of Zelda randomizers, Link to the
Okay.
Past, trying to get that time down. You and I were playing The Forest the other day.
True.
Downloaded that, played that for a little bit. I haven't got a lot of time behind it. I think I only have like 2 hours
Yeah.
behind it, but it seemed enjoyable for what it was.
Yeah.
Matt, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of BattleTech. Bought it on
How
Kickstarter.
is that?
It's everything I wanted out of that game system. It's by Harebrained Games, same people who did Shadowrun Returns.
Okay.
So turn-based, isometric, battle mech game. It's basically, if you're a fan of the board game, exactly what you want.
Nice. All right.
If you're not familiar with it and you're more familiar with the Mech Warrior franchise, it's a little bit slow-paced.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm familiar with Mech Warrior and like Mech Assault and that kind of thing. So, but I do like mechs. So I mean,
Yeah, if you want like sort of a slow, strategic version of Mech Warrior, this is definitely the game for you.
sure. So would you say it's like a bridge between, say, Mech Warrior and we were just talking about it earlier. The mech game just came out. You go back in time and restart.
Into the Breach.
Thank you. Into the Breach. Yeah.
Yes. If Into the Breach is a really good example, actually. But it's not a roguelike, it's a linear story. So
Of course, yeah. I'm trying to make a connection. Like if Mech Warrior was to have a baby with Into the Breach,
I mean, you could say that. You could definitely say that. I could also say it's if you made the tabletop game into a video game, it would be what you would get.
okay,
Okay,
all right, cool.
that totally makes sense.
I'm on board.
What have you been playing, Chris?
I've been playing a couple of things. I played a bunch of The Forest, and I got to tell you, I ran into a crashing problem where it would just explode, and it was like the same time every single day. So not like but like I would save, and then like I think I got to like day 13 or something, and then at a certain time in the day, the game would just crash. And so I was like, that's weird. So I just rebooted it and tried again, and it just crashed at the same time. And I said, okay, well, there's a problem here. So I put it down. It's really not fun to spend like 45 minutes doing like a menial task that will accomplish something bigger. Like I was trying to build a wall around my base to protect me from the cannibals. And it took me like 45 minutes just hacking down trees, dragging them around in the sled, putting up the wall, and the game crashed. I'm like, okay. And I did it again, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to spend time doing this if it's just going to be lost. So as much as the game seems like it's really cool, and I would like to check it out some more, I'm not willing to spend that kind of time if it's just going to be lost. Because you can't save except at at your base, and I don't particularly want to be bothered to save between putting up every single wall. So, I mean, if they fix their game, I'll give it another shot. Until I see a big patch for it, I'm not gonna probably touch it again. But I did play God of War HD, so not the new God of War, but I've never played the series. And a friend of mine, Mike, was like, "Dude, you gotta play this." And I was like, "All right." So I pulled out my PS3 here, dusted it off, and I picked up God of War 1 and 2, the remastered versions for PS3, and I played through the first God of War, and I gotta tell you, I enjoyed what I played. I liked it. I finished it. It took me, I don't know, maybe 12 hours or so. It was enjoyable. I liked it. It was just an action game. You walked around, you killed stuff, you got some cutscenes here and there, but mostly it was just kill some stuff. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And then I've also been playing the Stardew Valley multiplayer beta with a buddy of mine, Kevin, a lot. We streamed it all of this past week. We're in year 2 now. It's really quite fun. If you're into that thing, you're playing that game, please remember report bugs. It's still in beta. Concerned Ape, the guy who's actually developing the game, is actively patching it and taking community feedback and that kind of thing. He's been doing a lot to make sure that all the bugs get fixed and everything else. And he's the kind of guy who's just not going to go to final release until he feels good about it, which I appreciate from a developer in charge of a game. Like, I don't mind waiting a while, to get something that is good,
Okay.
So, I know, Ian, you and I were playing it a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I played Stardew Valley. I haven't played any of the multiplayer yet. I've been meaning to. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
My days have been spent, fantasizing about all of the new Battle Royale releases that are coming out. I don't know if you're aware of this one. It's not in the notes. It's one I feel like they've announced it. You can sign up for testing today. It's a game called Egress. It's kind of it's like Dark Souls-ish, Bloodborne meets Battle Royale. It's made by a company called Phazon Studios. There's a bunch of footage that we could find online right now. But it's kind of like an alternate universe combining Victorian era and like Lovecraft, and kind of has more of that like Bloodborne kind of feel. I know there's like a bunch of different classes with some unique abilities, and they'll have like solo play and team modes. But I think it's like, instead of it being like 100-person battle royale, I think it's like 21 to 24 people per game. So hopefully, that'll be pretty cool.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's worth looking into if you've never looked before. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Other battle royale news. The big news is the Fortnite stuff. Tomorrow they're doing a limited run with the Marvel for the Avengers Infinity War movie. They are dropping the Infinity Gauntlet into Fortnite. You can pick it up and become Thanos, and apparently gain some of his powers, if not all of the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. They've been very tight-lipped about what that's actually going to be. But with this season, season 4 being very superhero based, with like the reduced gravity crystals and stuff like that, and the comet finally hitting and all that fun stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's a really cool crossover, and it really fits the season well. I feel like Fortnite's just knocked it out of the park the last.
Yeah, for sure. They saw what, like, it's amazing to me that Fortnite happened. Because like I remember when it was announced at E3, and it was like there was no BR. It wasn't, I feel like it was just that little co-op mode. It was just like zombie defense, building up some forts and stuff, and like it's cool engine, like played really well, but like it wasn't like super interesting. I actually bought it and played it and put it down and never went back to it because I was like, well, this is kind of boring. But like they just added a BR mode, and it turns out that the mechanics they had in their game happened to be the perfect combination of things to make a BR game. So it's really interesting to me that it happened at all, but it's turned out really well, which is great for them. So
so good for those guys taking what could have been trash and turning it into treasure. So and
well, I mean,
they're making a lot of money.
Like, it's an extremely different battle royale game because there's a ton of them coming out right now.
Yeah, it's the new.
I got my eye on Islands of Nine right now. It's basically just like it, but with graphics. But no, nothing else has that level of people running up invisible staircases that they build out of the wood that they collect off half the island. There's just something unique about it.
They hit that like battle royale meets Minecraft kind of deal to a degree.
Yeah.
Where the other popular game at the time was PUBG, and like that was just straight up that was like Call of Duty meets battle royale, and this is more like Minecraft battle royale.
Well, the best part is I think the fully destructible terrain. It really does add to something when you can blow somebody's cover away.
Yeah, absolutely. So they've knocked it out of the park. Everyone knows about Fortnite and how awesome it is. So we don't really have to spend much more time talking about it. But I'm excited to run around looking for the Infinity Gauntlet because I'm a big Marvel head. So this is pretty solid for me. But
Nice.
for other gaming news, I mean, it's really there hasn't been like too much on like news on games itself. It's been more or less like like a lot of graphics cards news has kind of hit this week. If I'm not mistaken.
If you own a 1060, and you're trying to download the current driver version, don't. It gets locked into an installation loop where it like tries to detect your hardware, gets it successfully, installs it, and then it fails to install, and it reboots your computer, and then it tries to do it again, but it installs correctly and then fails to detect your card again. So like it'll put you into this place where like you can't get the drivers installed. And NVIDIA has come out and they've said, one, we're fixing this very soon. The better fix for this will be out like pronto. And they've also said if you can't get it to work and you really want the current driver to work, there's two things you can try. One, go into Hardware Manager and disable and then re-enable your GPU so that Windows automatically installs the driver. And then if that doesn't work, roll back to the old driver. So,
okay.
Yeah, so they're working on a fix for that, but apparently this impacts only 1060 owners for some odd reason. So just be aware of that. And then the other thing is that the GTX 1080 Ti, which is the upgraded version of the 1080 with 11 gigs of VRAM, everybody knows how expensive video cards are right now. The website B&H has a sale going on where they're actually selling it for $770, which is $70 above retail, which, while still a giant scalp, is significantly lower than you will pay for this card anywhere else. So if you are looking at getting a 1080, this is probably your one chance to do it under $1,000 for the next a while, right?
Yeah.
And
you can blame cryptocurrencies for that. Thanks, Russia,
totally.
and just ruining the graphics card market for the rest of us.
Yeah. I'm actually going to put a link to the B&H site in chat, just so if anyone's interested, they can click on that and see that price there. But yeah, while we're talking about crypto, Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have both come out and spoken against cryptocurrencies. I don't have the article still open, but I can tell you that Bill Gates said that if he could short crypto, if there was like an easy way to do it, he would totally do it. And Warren Buffett came out shortly after Bill Gates did and said, just like, this doesn't make sense. Why are people like because they're so volatile that they're just not good investments. And like, I know people who have made some money off of crypto, but it's such a risky thing because it's like, this is way more volatile than any other high stakes investment I've ever seen.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I mean, as one of those people who's made money off of crypto, I have to say it's just like any other random economic bubble. But Bill Gates has been against it for quite some time. He did an AMA a while back on basically why he doesn't like it, and effectively because the underlying idea of creating a countercurrency is really crazy, absolutely insane. I'm never going to catch on.
Okay.
That's
And
true.
if it does, you don't make money off of it. It just is money.
Right. Yes. So, I mean, I understand completely why the big name investors are speaking out against it, and you're absolutely right. It's almost like it's just gambling at this point. The market's so volatile that you may think you have a read, and next thing you know, like, you're 5 minutes too late on getting out, and you've lost money. So you know, if for entertainment purposes, sure. You know, I've got a little bit in crypto, and it's, you know, I've made a little bit, I've lost a little bit, but overall, like, it's just another investment to diversify your portfolio or whatever else you got going on.
I mean, I can't call it an investment. It won't hold value past a month.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a short term, you know, in out, kind of like a penny, like if you were doing day trading penny stocks type of thing. It's almost more of a game in itself than it is anything.
Yeah, if we call it a slot machine, we're on the right track as to what it's like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I won't go too much further on that. This is actually it's an interesting topic to me, and I could probably go for a very, very long time on it.
Yeah,
But we got other things that we need to talk about today.
for sure. The last thing to mention about it is that after these two guys spoke out about it, Bitcoin's value tanked. Which,
Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah. So,
These are people of influence, so when
Oh,
they
yeah.
say things happen.
yeah. Well, moving on. A common household name, Shigefumi Tanaka. I'm sure you know who he is. No, this guy. He is the live services manager for Square Enix, and he has come out and said that Final Fantasy 15 will be supporting mods for the PC. And
That's cool.
Yeah, and it includes a level editor on top of just adding in a system to allow users to put in their own content. So he was talking about how it would be interesting to see people do that and what they would make, and how this is kind of like setting a precedent for Japanese games released in the West, and how they're hoping that this will be something that is continued further. So I mean, it should be really interesting to see what happens with that. I may give 15 another chance, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I for one look forward to playing Morrowind in Final Fantasy's engine.
Yeah.
Great, yeah. If only they could finish Skywind, we'd be in good hands.
So, speaking of incredible mods that are coming out or have come out, I don't know if you've heard about this, but somebody has recreated the island from Lost in Far Cry 5.
I saw that. Yeah. I don't know.
So it's in the Far Cry 5 arcade map editor. It's everything from all the Dharma Initiative stations and Sun's Garden and the Hatch and the whole 9 yard.
That's pretty incredible, because Lost was a long show. There's a lot of content there. And Far Cry 5 came out, a month ago?
Yeah.
They've been doing nothing but that.
Really went into it. Yeah, they really went into it. So if you've got Far Cry 5, check it out. I mean, apparently it's not the biggest map in the world, but they made it as big as they could.
Fair enough. And if you don't own Far Cry 5, don't buy it.
You should buy it. Really?
Don't buy it. No.
You weren't a fan?
Did we not talk about this?
I think we may have. I think, you weren't
I
very
hated
happy
the
with
ending. I hated the ending of Far Cry 5. Fuck the ending of Far Cry 5. Are you kidding me? Don't put me through 35 hours of a game experience only to make a point about how user choice doesn't matter in a game about your actions mattering. Fuck you, game.
I mean, has that ever been the point of Far Cry, though?
No, it hasn't. I mean,
It
even
just
in 4,
leaves you with a really, really sour taste. It just insults
Did you play 4, Chris?
I did not play 4. I hear 4 had a great story, but 4 is the one that I skipped.
I believe it was 4. It may have been 3. I believe it was 4. Where the dude, you were in the dining room of the main bad guy, and he's like, "I'll be right back. Just hang out for a few. We'll have dinner." And then in the actual story, you get up and you go and you light the building on fire or whatever. But apparently, if you sat there for 20 minutes, he comes back down, you have a meal, and then the game ends.
Yeah,
you don't have to go through the game at all.
Yeah, that's 4. Yeah. 5 has a similar thing at the beginning. When you're supposed to arrest the guy, if you just don't push X for a little bit and you walk away, you just walk away and the game ends. Yeah, which would have been a better ending.
It would have been a beautiful game. It's all of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The graphics are amazing.
No, of Far Cry 5, I will say this. The game itself is very fun, but the story is garbage, all around. There's one good story arc, and then after that...
Well, hopefully they'll release Blood Dragon 2 in the Far Cry 5 engine.
We'll never get another game as good as Blood Dragon. So incredible. And that's a Rex Colt guarantee. Ian, did you play Blood Dragon?
I played Blood Dragon.
Okay, yeah. That's important. All right. So the last piece of gaming news that we have is Project Borealis, which, have either of you heard of this?
I've heard the name, but I don't know what it is.
That's the Half-Life clone project, right?
Yeah. So you'll remember about a year ago, the guy who used to be in charge of the storyline for Half-Life came out of his NDA with Valve ended, and so he released a document called Epistle 3 that was a names changed, but it was the plot of what Episode 3 would have been for Half-Life. And after he did this, a group of modders got together and they started making Episode 3 in the Unreal Engine. And that's what Project Borealis is. They've come far enough now that they actually have in-game or in-engine footage. They've got weapons shooting. They've got a map, a warehouse, I believe, that they've got completed. So they have made some really interesting progress. I don't think we should count on playing it anytime really soon. But it's pretty exciting that they actually did that fast. I mean, getting something into an engine with something playable is pretty impressive for the couple of months they've been working on it. So they've got postings on their website for they're looking for people, they're looking for modelers, they're looking for artists, they're looking for web developers, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in modding and you like Half-Life, that could be interesting. They had some videos, but they weren't particularly fascinating to watch, so I didn't bring them here with any links or anything. But right. I think it's just really interesting that they're doing that. I mean, because the zest for people who wanted to play Half-Life has endured for years. I mean, what Episode 2 came out in 2009? I think. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm looking up the release date of it right now. 2007 was Episode 2's release date. So it's been 11 years since there's been any new Half-Life content, not counting the Portal games, even though they have close to nothing to do with Half-Life.
Right.
But I mean, it's it's been a long ass time. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about. Now you guys have both played Half-Life, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
I've done the whole series.
All right. So you've done episodes 1 and 2 and everything else.
Yeah. Orange box, whole all the extra bonus stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought it would be really interesting to talk about, kind of why people really want to play another Half-Life. What about it has driven people to still care about it 11 years later? Why it was popular in the first place? All that just interesting stuff. I mean, I can't think of any other internet joke, dare I say meme, that has persisted for 11 years. That's a long-lived meme.
Pop-Tart Cat.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
What? You've never heard of Pop-Tart Cat?
No. What's Pop-Tart Cat?
Okay, we're
Oh wait, Nyan Cat?
Nyan
The
Cat.
rainbow? Oh, that's been around for. I don't know. I don't think that's alive and well. I mean, it's.
I think it's alive and well.
Do you? Where is it alive and well? Where does it live?
It lives in the hearts of children and people who still think they're children.
Fair enough. All right, I'll change my statement to you would be hard pressed to find many memes that have lived for 11 years.
The Rickroll.
That's immortal. Come on. Fair. All right. Fine. Fine. It's still impressive.
There's probably 20 memes that are still around to this day that have been around for 10 plus years.
All right.
There's 20 to 30 most likely.
I think there's a Reddit for just this subject.
Yeah, just old memes. Bringing back old memes.
There's a Reddit for everything. There's probably a Reddit for how there is a Reddit for everything.
/Bikini Bottom.
Yeah. So, but back to the Half-Life thing, Half-Life, to me, it just did so many things right that people didn't even really appreciate, but changed the whole game industry and together. I think Half-Life 2 was one of the first games that really did level transitions the way that they did, where it all kind of felt like one congruent story.
Absolutely.
Where and it wasn't like broken up into levels.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 was a
So-
fucking masterpiece of its time. It did
Yeah.
like so many things first, and it did them all at the same time in the same game. Like that game changed
Right.
what first-person shooters would be forever. Like you were talking about level transitions, absolutely. Like the fact that Dog just like opened up like he just pulled aside a beam and you got to walk to Ravenholm like through a tunnel and climbing down a ladder. That was crazy. Levels in games
Yeah.
before that were, okay, you go to this place, a loading screen happens, and then you go to the next place, right? Like that's just how it was. The
Right.
first Half-Life was like this as well, where you would just go from A to B to C to D to E, and like there was no loading screen in between. That was Half-Life was really one of the first to do that. But if you go back and you look at like the first 2 Call of Duty games, or you go back and you look at like any of the James Bond games, like GoldenEye or Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, any of those things. You look at what are some other good first-person shooters, like Doom or Duke Nukem. Like all of those things where you go to a point, the level ends, and then you start another level somewhere else, right? But Half-Life was just
Right.
here's the whole thing. We've designed a map that makes sense, and you can just walk through it all, which is just really cool. Half-Life 2 was also the first game to use it was the first thing to have like NPCs that would interact with objects in a complex way. So, do you remember the scene in the beginning of Half-Life 2 where Alex, like, you're walking into the sewer where you're about to meet Dr. Kleiner, and there's like a little stairwell that you can walk down, but Alex just like jumps over the rail. Like she just puts her hands on it, like flings her legs over, lands, and just keeps
And
on
then bolts
walking.
over it, yeah.
Like that kind of thing just didn't happen in other games. Like there were scenes where like Dog would run in, he would like leap over a thing, and he would just be there. Like he didn't load in, like he just ran from outside the map and jumped in. Or like Alex would leave a level by like just scaling a building and walking away. Like that kind of thing didn't go down in other games. It was also the first game I remember to have like real physics puzzles. Like the gravity gun
and
was
the gravity gun was a
crazy.
thing.
Yeah. Like I remember
Yeah,
very
that thing
clearly
was
the first
incredible.
time I got into that. There's like a little room that has a circular cement pipe, and there's a board that's on top of it, and you have to take the cement blocks using the gravity gun, or you didn't even have the gravity gun yet. You just had to like pick them up and put them on the one side of the lever so that you could walk up and jump to the other end of the sewer to get out
The
there.
next part, yeah.
Like I did not figure out that needed to be done for probably like 15 minutes the first time I played it, because that's just like that wasn't a thing that happened in games. Like puzzles involving objects in the environment that you could manipulate freely, just that was crazy.
That physics puzzle was the first physics puzzle I ever saw in an FPS, and it stumped me for a good half hour.
Yeah. Oh, it stumped everyone because again, it was just something you never saw before.
Yeah.
I think for me, with the gravity gun, like the first time I picked up a rusty saw blade and I fired it as a weapon, I thought that was like hands down the coolest thing I'd ever seen in any video game.
Just slice a
So,
line of
yeah.
zombies in half.
Yeah. I was like, at that point, I was like, game just got real. Like
Yeah.
this is insane. So
Who can forget our favorite all-time weapon, though, of any video game ever that's in that particular game? The gnome. Nowhere else do you get a lawn gnome and just take it from one end of a Raven home to the other and then launch it into space.
Yep.
That was
Totally a
unique.
thing. Totally a thing.
That gnome went to Ravenholm.
I think
Man.
he just wrote the book on Easter eggs, I think, at that point.
Yeah. I mean, the game just fundamentally, like, they just did so many things that were right, and they just focused it on as you, and it wasn't like another thing like first-person shooters back in the day, like Duke Nukem. You were like, this is the Duke Nukem character, or this is the Doom guy, or like this is the Wolfenstein guy, and it was always very much a third party person that you were playing as, where like Gordon was you.
Yeah.
Like people when they talked to you, they never said like, "Oh, Gordon." It was just like, "Hey,
Yeah, they
I
did.
need you to do this. You need to do this kind of stuff." Did they refer to him as Gordon? Because I remember
yeah.
there's
They definitely refer to him
Definitely
as
talk
Gordon,
to you as Gordon, yeah.
or the Free Man,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I just
I mean-
remember it as very much being like they make it about you and your story and your experience.
And
I'll
what's
also say
interesting-
he repopularized the beard.
the goatee, I must say. No, I think the reason you have that impression is because of the way they told the story, which the way that I think you've received that impression is absolutely correct. Half-Life is one of those. It was Half-Life 2 was one of the first games that told you a story without you going up and specifically speaking to someone. You'd be in a room, like when you're in Kleiner's lab and Kleiner's talking about how he's setting up the transportation machine and Alex is worrying about the cat, and they're bantering back and forth, and this story, this world is being built around you, and you're just kind of there observing it happen. And as they they'll talk to you and tell you how to interact with it, they'll create something and then you'll work with it. It's just the way that the story was told, I thought was very unique for the time. Now that's just how things are done because Half-Life did it so well. Everyone was like, well, this is how we have to do it now. We can't not.
Right. But let's talk about the I don't say the hardware side of it. I guess you could call it, or the software side of it actually.
Okay.
Half-Life 2 was the first game Valve ever released on Steam, exclusively on Steam.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to play it, you had to install Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And now Steam is one of the biggest game distribution systems that's out there.
It's the biggest.
And I mean, if we're going to talk about Steam, we may as well talk about the Orange Box. Look at what came with Half-Life 2. Portal, Team Fortress,
that was insane.
the biggest games.
Yeah, it was
Period.
episode 2 is what did that. Yeah, because I actually have the Half-Life 2 and the episode 1 boxes as standalones. But when Half-Life 2 was released, it came with a copy of Counter-Strike Source. So they were pushing their engine, they were pushing their platform all at once, and the Orange Box just doubled down on it because you got Half-Life 2, episode 1, episode 2, Team Fortress 2, and Portal. And every game in that package is still beloved and actively played today. TF2
people to this day are collecting hats in TF2.
Yeah.
And I mean, Portal got its own sequel. Amazing game is on its own.
Oh,
Yeah.
Portal 2 is one of the best. I think top 10 game for me
Ever,
personally of all
period.
time.
Really?
Yeah, the voice acting in that game was incredible.
Cam Johnson was pretty good.
The guy who plays Wheatley is fantastic.
That prick.
And GLaDOS is, I think, one of the best villains in gaming.
Yeah, she is definitely
I'm going to
iconic.
put her right up there with System Shock's AI.
Okay.
His name just totally died.
Yeah, I think Portal 2
Show
might
me.
be one of the best games that I'll never play again, if that makes any sense.
Right.
It was super good and I had a great experience. For whatever reason, I just don't have any want to go do it again.
It's a puzzle game. You're not going to
Yeah.
replay puzzle games because you know the
Once
answer.
you play the puzzle game, yeah. But the thing is, in 5 years, you'll be like, I should give that game a run again, and you'll enjoy it. You'll forget little things of the story. You'll remember all the key plot points as you play through. You'll be like, I remember this. But all the little stuff you get to experience all over again if you don't remember it. So it's kind of nice.
And I'm just going to say that the promotional material and the voice acting for all three of those games is some of the most quotable video games of all time. People still quote Scout. They reference the G-Man, and obviously everything that GLaDOS ever says is a meme.
Yeah. And then what's his name? Cave Johnson. One of the best characters.
Life
from
gives
the
you a
Portal
lemon.
series.
Give the lemons back!
Back. Yeah.
Burn life's house down with those lemons.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you beat that? So, we all have high expectations for Half-Life 3. It's going to have to come out with 5 legendary games.
Yeah, and I still hold the opinion that I think it would be a bad financial move for Valve to make Half-Life 3 or Episode 3 at this point. I don't think they should.
Absolutely. At this point,
There's nothing that they could do that would live up to it. And if they did, which they can't, it would be the best game. It would win Game of the Year 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
They
at this
can't.
point, if you want to follow the series itself, you have to create a brand new game engine for it, because Half-Life 2 Episode 1 was the first thing that ever used Source. You know, like you really have to do something to like step the production level up a little bit, and that's just I think that's for what Valve is trying to accomplish. Like that's too much of a financial burden to try to take on something like that.
I don't know if it's a
especially with
financial
how
burden for
quickly-
Valve, because Valve kind of prints money, but I think their big problem is that they just don't have a team that makes games anymore. Like the complete lack of a
they're
command
trying to get
structure
back
at
into it.
Valve is rough.
I mean, Gabe realized he can just print money in the form of hats, and he
Yeah.
said it in an E3 interview. It was like, well, we want to move towards basically enabling users to sell their stuff through our platform, and that's what he's
Right.
done.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what Steam Greenlight was all about.
Yeah, they went from a game making company to a game distribution company, and now they're getting back into gaming. I remember back in, like, I think it was like March, Gabe came out and said that they're gonna start shipping games again.
Yeah, they
But-
recently bought a company that we talked about it on a previous podcast, and I can't remember, but they actually purchased they acquired a company that makes games.
Yeah.
I don't remember which
But
one.
I know like the first game they're releasing is a game called Artifact, which is like a Dota 2 card game type thing.
Hmm.
And
I think that is that already out?
Is it out?
Maybe.
Oh, well. It may be out.
Hmm. Campo Santo,
like-
they bought that.
I
Campo
can't
Santo,
be.
yeah,
I can't be super bummed about the Artifact game because it was designed by Richard Garfield, who designed Magic the Gathering. So
Oh.
like they had a pro behind it. But like it's just Dota. Like
I'm
you're
going to
gonna
be.
come out of the distribution world back into game making, and then you're just making a customizable card game that you're gonna have everybody buy booster packs to generate more money that way.
They looked at Hearthstone and they were like, Blizzard knows exactly what they're doing. We're going to copy
Yeah.
that.
And that's
And I'm
that's
just like,
exactly what it is.
oh, Valve.
It's a Hearthstone clone, you know.
Now,
but with Dota.
my aspirations are on Valve deciding to create a FPS game creator engine and using that to release Half-Life 3. It's basically the only thing I see which is a path forward for it.
Yeah. Essentially,
I mean,
Half-Life
actually,
3
that's
has to
an interesting-
reinvent the genre again.
Yeah, actually, why haven't we ever seen anything like that? Like in the sense of like, here's a FPS creator, and then you can just add your own, or you can add elements to a community server, where you can pull stuff from.
Like
The only people that
textures and
wanna-
stuff. That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah,
I think Project Unity kind of came close to doing that.
I think it may be just too much of a big project to even like for anybody to even really want to take on.
Well, they
True.
did buy out the people who made Firewatch, and that was an FPS. So
That's-
maybe,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say Firewatch was an FPS. Like it was a first person story. Like there wasn't really much in the world of combat.
I mean, what would you call Portal?
First-person puzzle.
Portal's a first person puzzle game.
Yeah.
It's I thought it was along the lines of that. I loved Firewatch though. I thought Firewatch was incredible. So I'm excited to see what they end up doing next. Apparently they're doing like a space one.
Yeah, I think I heard mention of that. But I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. Just because I know we've all got schedules to keep and we got things to do. But yeah, whenever it is we see Half-Life 3, we'll probably be 50.
Yeah, you kind of picked a kind of forlorn note to end on there.
Yeah, well. you
Well,
do what you
that's it,
can.
May 8th, man. We're going to get all the games, and then a desert until Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what happens. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these 4 games are probably gonna keep me busy for like a month
For quite some
at
time.
least. Yeah, Stardew Valley is gonna be eating a lot of my time too. So
Oh, yeah, no. Pillars of Eternity 2 is probably a 300 hour game easily.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm excited
yeah.
for that.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ian.
And I'm
And we
still
want to
mad.
thank Matt for we want to thank Matt for coming and hanging out with
Yeah,
us
we
today.
appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, you guys can catch us here every Monday night at 9 p.m. here at 2 Dudes 1 Up Gaming.
Yep.
You can find us on Discord, Twitter, Facebook. You know,
All the cool places.
We're pretty
Got
much
information right
Yeah.
down there. And if you're looking for me on the internet, I am Average Goatee. I stream throughout the week. Over in this corner down here, you got Ian. He's Stunt Mustard. He streams when he can.
Yep.
Busy work schedule.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Solid. Matt, do you have any shout outs you want to make?
Nah.
Fair enough. All right. We're going to get out of here. Everybody, thank you so
Bye,
much for
online
hanging out.
community.
Have an excellent night.
All right, take care, guys.